So projectors have made some huge strides recently, and the technology has come so far that now some of these are really viable options to replace your TV, as I recently made a video about. Others are great for a second display somewhere in your house, maybe for your kitchen or on your bedroom ceiling, for example. Other ones are great for home movie theaters, or of course the other one would be if you are maybe going to go tailgating or camping and you want this somewhere that you otherwise just wouldn't be bringing a TV. So projectors, like I said, really offer a lot these days, but there are so many different kinds and sizes of projectors that I wanted to make this video to break down some of the differences. So in this video, I'm talking about 4 completely different projectors, and these honestly are kind of my 4 top projectors as well for a lot of different use cases. So we have long throw laser projectors, long throw LED projectors, ultra short throw laser projectors, mini projectors. But before we get into this video, Anker was nice enough to sponsor this video and send over 2 fantastic projectors, which I'll use for comparison in the video. Okay, so let's start off with the 4 projectors and their prices. Starting off with the cheapest one, the Anker Nebula Capsule 3 laser projector is an absolutely microscopic projector. This thing could quite literally fit in your pocket. It's selling for $799 as the original MSRP, but anytime you go to the website, and I have links below, of course, it's usually like $100 or $200 off of that price. This is less than 1 liter in size. It includes a built-in speaker with Bluetooth mode as well, if you just want to use that as a Bluetooth speaker. Has smart TV capabilities, 1/4-inch thread mount on the bottom to sit on a tripod or other stand, has auto keystone, auto focus, and it has controls on the top, as well as a remote that it comes with. The next one up is $799, and this is the very famous Samsung Freestyle. I made a video about this last year for its very, very unique design, ability to flex in any direction to project on ceilings or connect to a light bulb mount, shine down on a table, a lot of different use cases here. Again, this has smart TV capabilities built into it. It does have a cap, as you can see right here, for an ambient light mode. It also has ambient modes built in, like it'll project a window or a sunrise onto your wall. The next one is substantially more expensive, but is much more heavy duty, a little bit less of the portable style projector. And this is the Anker Cosmos 4K laser projector. We're going to talk a lot more about what it means to be a long throw laser projector, how that differs from LED, but this right here, as you can see, has a handle on the top. So despite its relatively larger size, compared to a lot of other projectors, it's really not that bulky, but this is $2,200. But once again, Nebula usually has some sales on this. And the 4th one is the Nexigo Aurora 4K ultra short throw laser projector. The MSRP on this is around $2,600, but at the time of making this video, it's currently on sale for $2,100. This one is definitely the largest, but you don't need to be far away from your projector screen. This is going to sit a couple inches away from the wall, shine straight up, and get up to about a 150-inch screen. Usually the sweet spot is around 100 inches from my experience. Incredible speaker bar on the front. It sits at the base, so you really don't need like a table in the middle of your room. It just sits right below where your display would be. Now, those are the 4 that we're going to talk about. Let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the main technologies that you have for the display. So one of the classic ones that I actually don't have on this table because I don't personally use it much is a lamp projector. This has a bulb on the inside, and this is really the classic one you might experience that usually gets a lot louder. They're usually a lot warmer as well. They draw more power, but they can have some benefits, like sometimes they can be cheaper, they can have better black levels. But of course, with their drawbacks, like I said, they also have a very short lifespan, usually about 3,000 hours for a bulb, and a very slow startup time as you're waiting for the bulb to warm up. The next style is LED, and that's what's actually used in the Samsung Freestyle. It's a lot quieter, it's much, much cooler, much more efficient than traditional lamps. This one actually from Samsung is using DLP. The 3rd category is actually the laser projectors, and both of the Anker Nebulas are using laser long throw projectors, which should give you better color, better brightness, better power efficiency, and a long lifetime as well, especially compared to a bulb. The bulb lasting like 3,000 hours. These are about 25,000 hours. And then of course we have the ultra short throw laser projector. This one, once again, uses lasers, so the lifespan on this is like 25 or 30,000 hours. So those differences you probably could have read on a blog or something. Really the purpose of this video is to actually show you and demonstrate the picture quality and the features of these projectors. So before I get into the sound quality and the features and all the other really cool stuff with these, let's start off with the picture quality and actually show you some demonstrations here. Talk about the color, talk about the dark, talk about the contrast, talk about the brightness. But let's look at these 2 side by side. First of all, the Samsung Freestyle and the Anchor Nebula Capsule 3. So when you project them on the same surface, you can see that starting off with the brightness, it is marginally brighter to have the Capsule 3, but they both are they do a decent job in a dark room. Neither one would be great in a bright room. When it comes to color, this one really is a no-brainer for me. The Anchor Nebula Capsule 3, once again, has substantially better color, much more true to life, whereas Samsung is trying to be a little bit more saturated, but with that, you're getting a pretty substantial red tint on here. So here's a great example of just like a nature documentary, and you can see like the trees and the skyline and everything else just looks like a much more realistic color. I know this is really difficult to capture on camera, but the Capsule 3 easily has a substantially better color. But if you want to get something better than 1080p, you'd probably want to move up to one of the next two, like the Cosmos Laser 4K, or of course the Aurora, which is also 4K. Now these both have substantially better resolution, really incredible image qualities, and with the larger size, you're getting much more brightness. So with the Nexigo Aurora, you have 2500 ANSI lumens. Now lumens are kind of weird. If you go on Amazon, you just look up any projector, the lumen count is probably like 9 or 10,000. You got to be really careful with that. ANSI lumens is really what you want to look at because that does have a standard that they have to abide by when they measure. The Nexigo also has 120 hertz plus MEMC, so you can have better motion prediction on there, and it does support 3D formats. Overall, the image quality on here, in my opinion, is really nice. So the Nexigo Aurora PJ90 can project up to a 150-inch display. The colors are brilliant, lifelike detail, overall impressive dynamic range as well, considering the price. A lot of other ultra short throw laser projectors are far more expensive than this one, and so I was really impressed with the image on this. Now, the Cosmos 4K laser projector is claimed to have 2400 ISO lumens, which is slightly different than ANSI lumens, but once again, is based on a standard, and this does have really incredible brightness on here as well. I use this in a dark room in my basement, where you do have a projector screen, of course, and I have blackout curtains, so I can watch it during the day. But during the day, if you watch it in another room, depending on the size of your projection, like if you're trying to really max it out with like a 120-inch display, it might be a little bit harder to see this. If you manage to get it a little bit smaller, like under 90 inches, it is very likely you could watch this in the day if you have, again, a good display. So I was personally impressed by the color and the lifelike detail coming out of the Nebula Cosmos 4K laser projector. And personally, I've had this projector for the past couple of months, and I've had a lot of friends over to watch the World Series, to watch movies, to watch games, like a lot of different things. And more times than not, people almost always comment that they're really impressed by the image of this projector. So the picture looks really good. There's also a passable contrast ratio, decent blacks on here as well. And the only complaint I have is that it's a little bit trickier to make adjustments, to zoom in and things like that. But ultimately, that makes it more of a plug and play projector. You just set it down, you turn it on, and it's really ready to go pretty much right away. Okay, now as far as the setups go, some of these are more flexible than others, which could be a reason that you choose one projector versus another. So for example, an ultra short throw projector is by far the most picky out of all of these. You need to have a very flat display because it's projecting almost straight up at the display. Any kind of little curves in there are going to be very obvious. Even an average wall might not be flat enough. And so for example, if you want to have like a pull down projector screen, you really can't do this with an ultra short throw laser projector unless you have supports on the side. Like there are some that are made for that, but in general, like the $100 pull down ones aren't going to be great. And really the type of screen you'd probably want if you're going to watch this in a brighter room is an ALR screen, which stands for ambient light rejection, which is essentially any kind of side angle, like lighting from the side, is going to be rejected, and you'll be able to see this with much less glare. Now the next one is the Cosmos 4K laser projector. Now this one, obviously being long throw, is much more forgiving of any kind of wrinkles on the wall or on a projector screen, so a standard pull down screen would work just fine. And as far as roll down projector screens go, you can get a cheap one on Amazon that you have to pull and just bring it down, or what I have right here is the Power Extra motorized projector screen. I'll have a link to this one below, just kind of a little bit fancier, a little bit more convenient, and I don't know, personally I really like having it. It's worth the extra couple dollars in my opinion. Next up, the Capsule 3 is a little bit more forgiving yet. So again, this is a long throw laser projector, so it is fine with a wall or any projector screen. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat. This does also have auto keystone, so it'll adjust itself as needed. And it doesn't need to be on a table or a shelf because it does have that 1/4" thread mount on the bottom, the 1/4 there, so you are able to put this on a standard camera mount. And then easily the most forgiving one out of all of these is the Samsung Freestyle. You can set this pretty much anywhere because you can change the angle of the projection. It'll project up, auto keystone, and still look really good. Obviously, a 90-degree angle is going to be the best viewing experience where you're not trimming off too much of the edges with keystoning, but this one really projects absolutely anywhere. It's not the brightest out of all of these, so you want to have something that is a better display. Like you want something, obviously a white screen is great, but like I was saying in my original video, if you want to project this down from the ceiling onto like a cutting board or on your table or whatever, it is very possible to do that. And like an example here is ceilings are usually white. So what I actually did is I mounted this above my headboard on my bed, projected it up at the ceiling, and it was just a great way to like watch a movie in bed before you go to sleep. I don't know, just cool, fun thing that you could do with this. Of course, Samsung also advertises this for their on-the-go setups, like in a tent while glamping with your kids. But of course, picture is not the only thing these do. These have a lot of really cool features, and of course, they all have built-in speakers as well. So let's actually get into a speaker test to see how they all compare. All right, so starting off at 50% volume on the Nextgo Aurora. And now up to 100% volume. By far the loudest out of all of these. This one does not have the same advantage that we saw on the Ultra Short Throw in that this is not going to be sitting in front of you, but rather next to you. So we're going to test this out sitting next to it, watching a projector screen, and this is going to be, we're just going to jump right to full volume here. Now for the Nebula Capsule 3, I think you're going to be surprised by the sheer volume and honestly the sound quality of this as well. Again, same setup as last time. Let's hit play. And now the Samsung Freestyle. Now, as far as features go, 3 of them do have Android TV, so that means Google Assistant. One of them has Tizen, which means you're getting Bixby or Amazon Alexa on there if you want. And of course, you do have a microphone off button on the Samsung Freestyle on the left side, so if you don't want to use this as a smart speaker or a voice assistant, you can simply turn that off. Of course, this also has microphones on it, so you can use it for that voice assistant. The other ones, instead, are just going to be using the voice assistant through the remote that you have. There's a little microphone on there. And of course, the Samsung Freestyle, if we're going one thing at a time as far as ports go, this one does have a USB Type-C to charge this or to actually power it on. It doesn't have an onboard battery. And it does have a micro HDMI. I really wish they just put a regular HDMI, but it's micro. And of course, if you go down to the bottom here, we've got a couple different mounts for attaching this to some of the other accessories that Samsung has. The Capsule 3 has a much better port system in my opinion. So we have aux out, so you can actually plug in another speaker. These could all connect by Bluetooth speaker as well if you wanted to, or use the onboard speaker. But having an aux cord, I think, is just a really convenient thing. We have a full-size HDMI, big positive there. And we have a USB Type-C, which can not only power this, but can also charge this because this does have an onboard battery, which allows you to watch with just this alone for about 2.5 hours, which is pretty incredible for how small this is. The speaker, the projection, 2.5 hours. Like, I'm not really sure how they did that, but I am very impressed with that. And of course, on the back, you have 2 buttons, the power button, and the other one switches from projection mode to Bluetooth speaker mode. Going up to the Cosmos 4K, this one has substantially more ports on the bottom. So we've got a full HDMI, we have USB, we have an aux out, and of course we have our power in. This is not USB-C, it takes a lot more power than that. And on the top, we have our button as well as our capacitive touch buttons. They actually all have capacitive touch buttons for controlling what the projector actually does. And then the Nextgo Aurora has even more ports than that. Now, all 4 of these do connect to Wi-Fi, so they're able to stream. You can also connect by HDMI or micro HDMI, as I said. So ultimately, who should get which projector? I want to break this down into a couple different categories, kind of different use cases. So the first one is if you're looking for a small projector, you don't have a lot of space, and you want good image quality. So maybe you have a small apartment, you're trying to save space by not having a TV, maybe you have a second room that you want to have a display in, but not all the time. Maybe you just want to get this out for game day, to have another screen in the kitchen or something. That would be the Anker Nebula Capsule 3. This one has a great image quality compared to the Freestyle. Again, better color, better brightness. I think it's great that it's so small. You can put it in a closet, save yourself a lot of space, and then when you want to watch a movie, you want to watch a game, you can take this out, put it on a stand, and either project it at a wall if you really don't have a screen, or just get a pull-down screen, set it up, pull it down, and you're able to watch a movie, TV show, whatever, on such a tiny little device. The next up is the best for any place. So if you don't always have one place you're projecting, maybe you're in different rooms all the time, maybe it's for when you travel, maybe it's for when you're glamping or in a hotel, whatever, I don't know. If you just don't know where you want to use it, but it's going to be kind of a little bit of everywhere, the Samsung Freestyle, as the name suggests, is by far the most flexible projector that you can use in any environment out there. Next up, we have the best for a true TV replacement. Is really none other than the Nexigo Aurora. This is an ultra short throw laser projector, so it really makes the most sense to act essentially as a laser TV, as some people do call it. Next up, the best for a casual home theater. For me, I have this in my basement. This is the Cosmos 4K laser projector. I just set this back by my couch, shine it up at a projector screen, which I have that pulls down, and it's great because in my basement, I have a drum set there. I've got other things in the basement. I'm not always watching movies down there, but the ability to pull that screen down and then turn this on, I think really makes it a more versatile space that also gives you a nice home theater whenever you want it. So that's my summary of 4 different, really incredible projectors that do drastically different things. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think about these 4 different projectors, or what other projectors you actually like to use. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.